Welcome to the official personality guru. People with the ISTP personality type are action-oriented thinkers. They are highly tuned into their immediate environment and driven to interact with it in a hands-on fashion. It is by working with things in their environment that they experience and understand life. By working physically with their environment, they have a natural and immediate understanding of how things work and how best to achieve their identified goals. Although they constantly use logic to determine how to best manipulate objects in their immediate situation, they are not naturally analytical in a more objective sense. When they step back to methodically analyze the relationship between objects in their world, they often lose touch with their understanding. Their understanding is intimately tied to their physical experience with reality. It is immediate and holistic. They're naturally in sync with the physical world and value life largely in terms of their ability to flow with and conquer the physical challenges presented to them. Although they think about and value past experiences, they live almost entirely in the here and now. ISTPs are natural mechanics, athletes, musicians, technicians, and engineers. They excel at tasks that require a great deal of tactile mastery, as well as quick, logic-based action. ISTPs are most comfortable using their known skills, rather than being thrown into situations which they have no personal experience. The nuances of variation in each individual situation will bring a sense of newness and freshness to the experience for the ISTP. ISTPs often resist and rebel against situations that are entirely new or that require a great deal of structured planning and thinking. This way of thinking is foreign to the ISTP and therefore uncomfortable. When someone tries to push or control the ISTP into these situations, he or she is likely to walk away from that person without looking back. Their resistance to a structure may cause them to quit school early, quit jobs that they find stifling, or quit relationships that have too many expectations. ISTPs are often likable and have more friends and social interaction than is normal for an introvert. The ISTP genuinely enjoys the company of their friends and needs their input in their physical world to maintain their understanding of their own place in the world. An ISTP's feeling of success is dependent primarily upon the mastery of their physical world, but is also dependent upon the existence of strong, reliable interpersonal relationships. Without these relationships, the ISTP is likely to avoid relationships, isolate him or herself, and feel very vulnerable to rejection and hurt. Today, let's talk about things you should know about the ISTP personality type. Before we start, make sure to subscribe to the official Personality Guru and ring the bell icon to get regular updates on our latest uploads. And if you like this video, click the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. Understanding your personality type can help you discover more about yourself, including what makes you feel comfortable, how to use your strengths and weaknesses to your advantage, and even what careers you might consider pursuing. ISTP, one of 16 personality types from the Myers-Briggs Personality Type Indicator, stands for introversion, sensing, thinking, and perceiving. Each of the 16 personalities has unique traits that make them stand out, and ISTP is no exception. Although no two people have the ISTP personality will be exactly alike, they often have many things in common. Are you an ISTP personality type? Let us look at some of the things that you should know about the ISTP personality type, which may help you understand yourself or others on a deeper level. What is ISTP? ISTPs are a sensing, thinking ST type and tend to approach the different aspects of their life in an analytical manner. It doesn't matter if they're at work, out with friends, or at home with their partner. They like to focus on the practical applications of their relationships. When in a relationship, they like to make themselves useful to their better half by acting in a logical and pragmatic way. Although they avoid confrontation, they set in their beliefs. Therefore, if they ever find themselves battling someone else's opinions, they approach the situation by presenting facts while setting emotions aside. ISTPs are also known as craftsmen for a reason. They like crafts and hands-on projects. They also enjoy figuring out how things work. And it's likely that they end up as engineers, firefighters, or police officers. People perceive the tinkerers as that friendly but private person who likes to go on spontaneous trips and isn't afraid to get their hands dirty. But how are the ISTPs so spirited, and where do they get all their energy from? Where does their emotional unavailability come from, and why are they so difficult to manage in relationships? How is it possible that although they're always objective, they can see that overcoming their ego is sometimes more important than proving their point? Well, let's explore the ISTP preferences and hopefully answer the questions regarding the mystical tinkerer. Preferences. Every person is different and personalities are nuanced, so it can be hard to identify and define every single one of their characteristics. Nevertheless, the personality theory was able to narrow down 8 important aspects which, when combined, can define 16 different types. These so-called preferences are a way of categorizing a person's natural tendencies. The 8 preferences are extroversion versus introversion. This describes how people direct their energy either outward or inward. Sensing versus intuition. This describes how people receive and process new information either pragmatically or imaginatively. Thinking versus feeling. This describes how people make decisions either by logic and rationality or by subjective feelings. Judging and perceiving. This describes people's approach to the outside world, either in a structured or more flexible manner. Different combinations of these preferences make up a person's personality type and temperament. ISTPs have introverted, sensing, thinking, perceiving preferences. Let's examine each of this and how they affect the ISTP personality type. Introversion. As introverts, ISTPs derive their energy from within. They're focused on their inside world and they process information internally. They like to spend time alone and aren't comfortable in crowded places. It's likely that they have a small group of friends that like to take on their adventures and they don't feel the need to expand their social circle. ISTPs are great listeners, but they're bothered by small talk. They prefer to have meaningful conversations with their closest compatriots. When put in a social gathering, ISTPs are likely to blend into the background and connect with a few people. But it's not like they want to fit in. They just can't be bothered with people they don't have enough in common with. Here's a list of the main introversion traits that apply to ISTPs. Energized by time alone. Private, quiet, deliberate, internally aware, independent. Sensing. As a sensing type, ISTPs are straightforward and direct people. They communicate in short, straight-to-the-point sentences, and they like to work with facts. They process information with their 5 senses and they see things as they are. They're literally thinkers and are concrete in their ways. That's why they're great at jobs that include physics, mechanics, mathematics, and essentially anything that can be proven with science. For this reason, they don't get along with people who communicate in abstract ways, and they're not the best at considering emotions. The tinkerers prefer to live in the moment and don't spend much time daydreaming about the future. Some other types, such as INFPs and INFJs, could learn a thing or two about living in the present from the here and now ISTPs. Here's a list of the main sensing traits that apply ISTPs. Concrete, realistic, live in the present, notice details, practical, factual thinking. As a thinking type, ISTPs are objective and make decisions based on facts. They're ruled by the head rather than the heart, and they value truth over tact. Nevertheless, this isn't always the best approach, especially when it comes to love. Sometimes they might seem insincere in their communication with their partner as they express themselves in a logical way. Avoiding displays of emotion, often described as robotic, ISTPs value objectivity in any area of life. They're rational thinkers, and that's why they react calmly in stressful situations. Some might say that they even enjoy the thrill of it. Here's a list of the main thinking traits that apply to ISTPs. Logical, objective, decide with their head, rational, critical, thick-skinned. Perceiving. As a perceiving type, ISTP's best qualities include adaptability and flexibility. This is valued especially in the workplace since they tend to choose fast-paced professions that require them to be easily adaptable to change. They thrive in unexpected situations and feed on adrenaline. They like to be physically challenged and they're spontaneous. Having the freedom to follow their own schedule, if they have one, is important for their overall satisfaction with life. They're often the ones to make or cancel plans at the last minute, and they like to change tracks midway. Procrastination is something they should work towards eliminating. However, in most cases, it doesn't affect their overall performance. Here's a list of the main perceiving traits that apply to ISTPs. Adaptable, disorganized, spontaneous, change tracks midway, procrastinate, dislike routine. Cognitive functions. Every personality type engages in its surroundings through four cognitive functions. The cognitive functions of a personality type are a combination of preferences and energy direction. The energy could be directed inward, introverted, or outward, extroverted. The functions also enable different ways people process information and make decisions. Thinking and feeling are used to make decisions, while sensing and intuition are used to process information. Furthermore, cognitive functions are structured depending on the impact they have on the person. The primary and secondary ones have the strongest influence on one's behavior, while tertiary and inferior ones only apply to certain situations. Dominant function, introverted thinking. As DI, introverted thinking, is the ISTP's strongest preference, this type makes decisions based on logical analysis. Furthermore, the introverted thinking function enables them to categorize and analyze the information they receive. Their in-depth logical analysis is primarily concerned with solving problems and finding answers. This allows them to bring structure to their inner world, which grants them a strong sense of inner control. This is why ISTPs are often described as self-disciplined people who prefer to manage their lives and personal projects independently. The tinkerer thrives when they have to use their intellect to tackle a given problem, situation, or system. These kinds of challenges excite them, and they often do it for the mere pleasure of it. ISTPs also feel confident in working with their hands or being physically involved. That's why they're also referred to as the craftsman. Fixing a car, reaching fitness goals, or craftsmanship are examples of how ISTPs view the idea of improvement and expansion. They like to make themselves useful. So even in their free time, they're trying to satisfy their need for growth. But growth isn't always tangible. Since CI is their dominant function, their intelligence is often intuitive and contextual. Figuring out how things work is a primary motivation for development in the life of an average ISTP. And sometimes, that means untangling a problem in an interpersonal relationship. As natural problem solvers, ISTPs are great at settling conflicts. It doesn't matter if they're struggling at work or battling difficult situations at home. ISTPs have the ability to stay objective. They work with facts, and by keeping emotional expression at bay, they often find logical solutions to their problems. Auxiliary function, extroverted sensing. Having SE, extroverted sensing, as their auxiliary function opens up to optimistic, fun-loving tendencies. For this reason, ISTPs adopt an eat, drink, and be merry kind of lifestyle. They process data through their five senses and are excited by new experiences, being aware of what is seen, touched, smelled, tasted, and heard. ISTPs are energized by living in the moment. Extroverted sensing also means that ISTPs are bored with routine and familiar experiences. They enjoy physical thrills and new sensations, and their explorative nature makes them solid candidates for extreme sports. Although they're good at team sports, their TI dominant combined with their SE auxiliary makes them masters at individual challenges such as cycling, long-distance running, skiing, and bungee jumping. Being able to process information through their five senses, coupled with their need for a physical challenge, also affects their career choice. They're likely to end up as mechanics, chefs, construction workers, firefighters, or policemen. They like to see and touch the results of their labor, and that's why they're unlikely to end up doing something theoretical and abstract. How about you? As an ISTP, what are the things that we should know about you? Be sure to watch until the end and share your experience for a chance to have your comment pinned. Tertiary function, introverted intuition. Having introverted intuition means that ISTPs have the ability to process data through possibilities and meanings. This concept is somewhat paradoxical to their introverted thinking primary function, which states that ISTPs are likely to think and explain things logically and practically. NI, introverted intuition, also suggests the ability to grasp a pattern or a plan, which is also something that the disorganized ISTP isn't very good at. However, as a tertiary function, those qualities are expressed to a lesser degree. Furthermore, the tinkerers are also ambitious and determined. They like achievements, so in order to stimulate their need for development, they have to be able to see the bigger picture and entertain the thought of new possibilities. They must be able to visualize the process, and that doesn't necessarily mean following a strict schedule. It simply suggests coming up with a plan and having a goal in mind. Before we continue, if you enjoy this video, make sure to give us a like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the official Personality Guru for more amazing videos. Don't forget to ring the bell icon to stay updated with our content. Inferior function, extroverted feeling. ISTPs use this function the least as it contradicts some of their most powerful functions. FE, extroverted feeling, suggests that ISTPs make decisions based on feeling. This is going against the logical nature of the tinkerers, and most of them are unfamiliar with emotional expression and vulnerability. Nevertheless, this doesn't make them heartless or completely insensitive. The FE function allows them to tune their behavior to the needs of others and essentially understand that people react differently in some situations. The extroverted feeling gives them the desire to connect with others and the ability to approach them in a warm and considerate manner.